What's going on, guys? This is Pierre, because my bladder's empty. Today we're going to be talking about adding a drop down for picking the sort by, and also we're going to be creating an expense form to add or edit expenses, the ones we already have. So let's get right to it. It should be pretty simple. So right here, we're going to be adding a select tag and also option tags. These are HTML5. These are not React components or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. So down here, let's add our select, and also our options right there. And this is going to be date, and then copy, paste. This is going to be the amount, because those are the only two that we have to actually sort by. Amount. We're going to give this value of date, and this is going to be a value equal to amount. So this right here is literally going to be the exact same thing what we did up here with input, where we have the value and we're passing in the actual sort by, because what we need to do is actually tap into the store to see what it's sorted by, date or amount, and that's only found in props.filters.sortby, and that's in the store. So what we need to do for value, because if I set value right here, you already know HTML, right? HTML5 for values and select. If I set the value here for amount, the option will default to the amount. We could check it right now. Amount, control save. See that? It goes to amount. If I do it to date, control save, it'll go default it to date. So right here, we need to get the default of what is actually in the store. So the way we do that is literally the same thing as up here. I'm gonna just copy this. And it's actually sort by, and we are going to get an error, and it's actually sort by date default, but we do get an error, and we already know why we get the error. Okay, it's because we still need to do the right here on change. So like I said, guys, this is exactly the same thing as the input we just did. So we're going to just do an on change right here. I'm actually move this to another line, not that, this to another line. I'm gonna say on change, and this is on change and not on click. On change, because we're gonna be changing this all the time. It's going to equal to JSX, which has E, just like that, and we're gonna be checking if it's date or amount. Okay, so right here I'm gonna just say two if statements. If e.target.value is equal to date. Let's do something with that. Else if, I'm gonna say the exact same thing. E.target.value equals amount. Maybe you want to add some more. I don't know. Amount. Let's do something with that. Now, obviously, this is pretty simple. All we need to do is actually dispatch what we already have, which is a sort by amount function or sort by date, and we do need to add those in. So in here, set keyword, and right here, sort by amount, and then sort by date, and we're literally just going to dispatch that. So I'm just going to copy this, or now I'm just type it. Ooh, okay. Props.dispatch, and this is going to be sort by date, and this one down here, props.dispatch sort by amount, control save. Now, let me actually remove the rent so that way we get both of them, and then get rid of this. So right now, date is 29 and 25, what we wanted, and let's say amount, and we get 116. Awesome, it's working. Now let's actually tackle the form. This was pretty easy, guys. The select, it was really easy. Yeah. Let's actually tackle the form now. And the form is going to be another component. So let's create that. New folder or new file. I'm going to say expense form.js. And here, import React. You already know how to do this from React. So we are going to be using a class, and I'll tell you why in a bit. I'll tell you why. We're going to be using states as well, component states, not going to the Redux. We're going to be using component states, and you're going to realize later on in this video why we're using component states. But for now, let's just create a class, a component class, and do it that way. So I'm going to export default. I'm going to call it class expense form, and extends. I'm pretty sure you forgot how to do this because we haven't even touched component states in a good while. I mean, class components in a good while. What we need to do is render out. Control Z, render. Yep. And we're gonna return a div. And I always need to do it this way. Div, and right now we're just gonna say expense form, so that way we know what's going on. And this form is going to be added on the budget.add. This is where we're gonna, when we click on add right here, this is where we want to add an expense. So this is where it's going to be imported. So import expense form from, and it's called expense form. And down here, we're going to call it expense form. Control save. We should see something. Something went wrong. Oh, but it has to be a single group. Remember that. So just get rid of that and actually add it in here. And paste that. Now it should be working. Yep, there it is. Expense form. Yep, there it is. Expense form. Awesome. All right, now that we have that, let me actually get rid of these things. This one as well, app.js. And we're going to focus on the expense form. Get rid of just the expense form. And we're going to actually start creating our form. Now, you could create it however you want, but we are going to need two inputs. One for text, for the description. One for the amount. The other one for a note, if you want to add a note. And then we're going to need a button to add the expense, right? So that's what I'm going to do. And it's going to be a form. And right here, let's add an input. Input. And you just need a self-closing. And in here, our type is going to be text, placeholder, description. Let me just capitalize the D, make it look nice. Okay, let me just grab this, copy, paste that. This is going to be a number, and the placeholder is going to be amount. And then we're gonna need I'm gonna make a text area for our note. You could add an input if you want to, but text area seems better. So text area, and here our placeholder is going to be add note for expense, and it's going to be optional. It's not going to be required, so optional. And then last but not least, we're going to need a button, and then add expense. Control save for now. And there we go. We got our two inputs and our text area and our button. So the reason I wanted to do a class component instead of stateless is because I want to keep track of the changes being inside the input, the text areas, before I actually send it out to the actual store. So I want to keep track of the changes being made, and by that we need to actually have a state for every single little thing, for a description, for our amount, for our note, and then after that we'll send off the proper data to the store. And we'll set equal. So let's actually, for right now, let's actually keep track of the description. Description is going to equal nothing for right now. I'm going to say lowercase d, and this is an object. So in description, I'm going to break this into a new line so that way we know exactly what's going on. So I'm gonna break this into a new line, tab it. So our value, and you already know what this is. Our value is going to be this dot. We're using the state, our component state, not the store, but our component state to actually figure out what the value is. So this dot state dot description. And if you control save this, you should see absolutely nothing in here. And if I type something in here, control save it, you should see it right there. Awesome. So with value, obviously, when you do this, you're going to get an error. Let me see. Yep. That's because you still need to add that on change event, because this is still read only. This value is read only. We want to change it depending on what they put in here. So like we've done this I think in the last 2 videos. So every time you do a value and you're trying to set the value to a state or to the store, you do need to do a on change event as well. So on change, and you already know how to do this, or you should anyways. We're gonna have, well, instead of actually doing a function, we're gonna create a method. I don't want to get this messy. I don't want this to be extremely messy. So we're gonna just create a method, and I'm gonna call this dot on description change, and we're gonna create a method up here. Oops. On description change is going to equal, we are going to get our event back, so let's do that. So we're going to be grabbing the values that's being inputted into the input box. So we're going to create a const description is going to equal e.target.value. And then after that, we're going to actually set the state. Obviously, we're going to set the description state to whatever the value is coming in, right? So this, you should already know, dot set state going to equal, and all we're going to be doing is giving it back description, our description, and we named this description. So we're going to just be setting the description of the state to the description we just have in here. Now control save this, and awesome, we're getting it. So the one thing to keep in mind that is that you're probably thinking, wow, why couldn't we just do description and then add target value in here? If we do this, we're going to get an error, and you'll see in a bit we get the error. Let me see. Let me actually bring this down here so that we can see console. If I start adding some stuff, you see already we get the error. The reason why is because this is happening in real time, and this is actually a callback function. Okay, so it's not going to know what the e.target value is right off the bat. It's not. We need to grab it before we even set it to the callback value. Like if you know anything about callback values, obviously this is not going to work out. This is real time, and the callback isn't real time. It's just waiting for you to do something. So this is why we set it into a variable, so that way we have the information that we need, and then we set it to the callback. That's why we do it. So I'm just do description, control save, and it should still be working right now, and it is. Now let's actually focus on our amount. And mostly they're all going to be exactly the same. So I'm literally just going to copy these, copy this, down here, add a new, paste it, and this is going to be description.amount. We do need to create a state for amount, and on amount change. So over here, we create another one, amount, and we're going to set that equal to nothing. And we're also going to do one for note just right now to get it off the way, note, and we're going to set that to nothing as well. And I'm going to copy this. On amount change, instead of, we're going to get amount, and we're going to set the state of amount. Let me lowercase this a, just like that. And exactly the same thing for note. So note on note change, we're going to get note. And down here in our text area, I'm going to just copy this, paste it right there. Note on note change, control save, and we should be getting our stuff back. Okay, and our notes, yes, it's all working. Now let's set up our add expense button, and you might be wondering, well, where are we going to actually do this or call the store to do this? Well, we're not going to be doing it in here, and the reason why is because we're going to be using this component for our edit as well, because the edit is going to be exactly the same thing, right? It's going to have everything exactly the same way. So we're going to be reusing this component, and we don't want to be just hard coding our expense form to actually just dispatch to the store just for add. So where are we going to add it? Well, we're going to be adding it in the budget add, and in here we're going to be passing in a prop, and from that prop we're going to get something back, and we're going to be creating a customizable prop where we could actually tell it what we want from that prop. So let's actually start coding before it gets any more confusing. So I'm going to create a prop on submit, and we're going to set that equal to, and this is where we're going to tell it, hey, once this happens, let's actually get some stuff back. And we're going to actually create a function in here. Okay, this is our callback function. Okay, expense, you could say that, or we're going to get an expense back, and you'll see how everything is set up after a while. We're going to get an expense back, and for right now, I'm just log out expense. I'm just copy this because I don't know where I went wrong. All right, control save. Right now we have a prop here on submit, and something's going to happen once we call this prop on expense.form. Now in here we're gonna focus on when the button is clicked, we're gonna submit this form. So on form, we're gonna say on submit, we're going to create a method called on submit. This is not the prop. This is not the prop being passed in. We're going to say equal this dot on submit. This is the on submit. This is going to be the method that we're going to be setting up here. So this is already comes in with HTML. So over here, we're going to create a method on submit. We're going to be passing in the event, what happened, not capitalized, just E. And the first thing we want to do, the reason why we got the E, the only reason, is because we want to prevent default. We want the page to stop we want to stop the what's it called? The reload of the page. So E dot prevent default. Now we're not going to get that page reload. And this is where we're going to create or call the submit that we passed in on budget add. So right here, this is where we're going to say, this is where we're going to call this dot props dot on submit. on submit. Okay. And like I said, on submit is expecting an expense, which in our case, that expense is going to be an object. Object containing the description, and this description is actually from this dot state dot description, and then our amount, which is going to be from this dot state dot amount, and then our note, which is going to be this dot state dot note. Now, control save for that right now. I'm gonna actually open up our console. So we have our submit right here, and we're gonna be passing back our data to up here, expense. So once I actually start adding some stuff, let me see, add expense, we get an error. Wait, hold on. Let's go to expense form, prevent default, prevent with the capital, T with the T. All right, now let's add a description, our amount, and our note, add expense. And you see it down here, our description, amount, and note. So let's actually push this to the store. Let's actually add it to the store. And like I said, we're going to be doing it in here. So to push it, obviously we do need to connect. So I'm going to add the connect, import connect from React Redux, and down here, instead of exporting our component, we're going to be exporting our connect, and we don't need to pass in a state because we don't need to access a state. We just need to access a store, and we're going to be passing in our budget add component as well. And now we need to add our action as well. So let's do that. I'm adding down here. Import. We're going to import add expense. Add expense from outer directory on our actions and expense actions. Control save. And right here, props dot stop it. Props dot dispatch, and we're going to dispatch add expense, and we're going to be passing in our expense that we just got in. Control save. All right, cool. Now if I start adding some stuff, let me see, and our note, add expense, we get an error. Let's see what that is. Props is not defined. We do need to add in props. Props, control save. Let's do it one more time. Add expense. And it should have added it already. So I'm gonna just go to home and actually get rid of this. And it did not add it. Let's see what's going on. All right, guys, I actually figured it out. Yeah. So let me actually tell you why our selectors, this right here, our filter selectors actually expect a date range. And I kind of forgot about that. So what we need to do is actually create a created at. So I'm actually going to copy this. We're going to create a created at, copy this. And in our expense form for now, we're just going to hard code our created at. And we are going to need to add in the moment library for this. So get rid of that. In here, import moment. Now, let me actually get rid of, I had to do hard code. I was like, why is dispatch not working? But no. All right, in here, we're going to pass in our expense. Control save. All right, now if we go to add, we're going to say gas, amount 300, and for car and house, I guess. I'm not sure. Now we add expense. We got our description, awesome. Over here. Oh, wait, what's going on? Nope. Nope. Oh, expense form. Dude, save it. Save that damn thing. All right, let's do it one more time. Sorry, gas 300 and whatever. Add expense, we get our range. Awesome. We go to home and we have it right here. Yes. It's because of that date range. We're gonna have to create this. This is required. This is required from now on. Okay. All right. One thing before we end the video is actually when we submit, we want to just automatically go to our home page. Now, if you didn't know, all of our components do have some props that we can use, and you might not know the props. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. So if you go into props, let's go to actually our components. We're going to use our components right now, and we're going to be looking for our budget add. So right here, I'm going to say budget add, and it's down here. And if we look at the props that we have right here, we have our dispatch. This is where we get our dispatch. We got history, location, and match. Well, for right now, to actually redirect ourselves to the home page once we're done adding an expense, we're going to use the history prop, okay? So let's do that right now. I'm going to actually get rid of this. Now, this is called this is HTML5 API. And we've talked about this already. So all we're going to do is access that prop. So props.history, history, and .push. We're going to be using the push method, and we're going to be pushing pushing ourselves to the home page, which is a / Control save this. So now we add a description, like again, gas, the amount, whatever, and the same amount, and whatever. Once we click on this, we should be redirected to our page, our home page, which is awesome. And we do have our gas right here. Whoo! That was quite, God, that date range. Honestly, that date range was required. I should leave a note on my computer somewhere. But that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something. In the next video, we still need a do this created at. So in the next video, we're going to be installing a third-party module to actually date pickers, and that's it. This is going to be for doing the created at. We're not done with this. We're manually doing this. So in the next video, we're going to be tackling this. Okay, and that is it. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.